everyone, welcome back to Evony with Genghis. All-Star season just ended, and we haven't got the email yet on the short season, but I'm sure it's coming. 2-week season likely, so get those points, get the pink wings and the red wings, and let's get to it, this video. So, I think Evony's made it, so you have to buy, what's her name, Hersilia, that's what I think it is. I think Evony's made it, so you have to buy her. So I was doing some calculating, moving up from John Hyundai to Romulus, and I was looking at the numbers, and I was like, maybe I could use him as assistant, because I only lose about 2% march size if I used him as assistant with Hyundai. I got a copy of him. They do pair. He also pairs with Gunther, who's my current assistant. So there's options. You don't have to buy him. You don't have to ascend him, get 16 copies. You can use him as assistant. Now, I have a comparison here on the old Genghis spreadsheet. So what this is, I'm going to show you. I'm going to walk you through, and then how I discovered they made it so you have to spend $200 or he doesn't work. So this right here is the comparison for only their ascension. Okay? Only this. That's all I'm adding up. I'm not adding up any of this. No covenant, no specs, and not this. Why? Because my thought was I'd use him as the main, and I'd use Romulus as the assistant. So I only have to compare the difference of what I would get from them. And here it is. So on their ascensions, Romulus would beat Hyundai by 45%. That's what I'd be giving up. I'd be gaining 30% on defense sticking with Hyundai, and I'd be gaining 25% HP if I went with Romulus. I'd gain 12% versus 10% on march size. So not really too big of a difference to switch over the blood of Ares, right? Basically, when you look at that, it's like, okay, wash on the HP defense. Let's just call it 2% march size, which is really what? I got like 800,000, so we're talking about 15,000 troops. Not that big a deal. 45% attack, I could live with it. This is a big difference, though. These attributes right here, like Romulus starts high, man, like 132, 125, 128, and he goes up at a fairly good pace. And then when you look at Hyundai, 115, 124, 108, so much lower. So you're looking at probably a difference of about like 3, 4, 5% at the end. Not gonna break the bank, but it is a lot. So then I did a comparison as who would be the assistant. So if Romulus was my assistant to Hunyadi, or if I stayed with Gunther, or if I went with Hersilia. And you can look at them, and Romulus and Hersilia, kind of a tie as assistant, right? Like, so these numbers here are, oops, didn't mean to screenshot that. These numbers that I'm looking at on those are every single number that isn't ascended. So it's all of this stuff, everything. This, these, and this, because that all works as an assistant. So it doesn't count the ascension. So Romulus versus Scylla. So let's pretend I already got a copy of Romulus. I got one copy. So at the looks of it, I don't really need Hersilia, right? I'd be giving up 8% on march size. But, you know, I could live with that. Or I really could just stay with Gunther and only give up 6%. And the rest is all kind of pretty close. But there's a catch here. This Romulus stuff, you could take off. You could take off 8% on the size of Romulus because he's not going to be working for you. Because if you look at him, look at his covenant, yeah, you need Hersilia. I've done tests trying to max out a covenant with just 2 dragons. I did it with Marcus Agrippa because I couldn't get Caesar. And the only way I could max this out for the 6th covenant, which is march size 8%. So you're giving that up if you don't spend $200 on Hersilia. The only way I could max that out was with 2 dragons. So 3 dragons. All 3 of those 3 people at the top need to have a dragon. And if you take it off, once it unlocks, it reverts and removes it. So it has to be a live score. You can't just unlock it like on the victory column to do it. It has to actually be there. So you basically have to have her. So now I get to my real debate. So let's pretend I'm going to spend $200. And I think I'm leaning towards it. I just, hey, what's a couple $100 a few times a year for a game you enjoy so much? You spend on these big events, you get the important stuff you need, you don't fall behind. So, if I do Romulus and Hersilia as a pairing versus Hunyadi and Gunther, I'm getting about 75% more attack plus the attributes on Romulus. So let's call it 80% attack. On defense, I'm going to wash even. I'm going to go down 5% by adding all of those together. So what I'm doing right here is I'm making that's in white, so put it in blue. I'm making the difference between that and the difference between those and adding them together. And then if I do the HP, I'm going to get a 35% bonus by making the full switch. And the march size, right here, it looks like I'm only getting 8%, but I'm actually going to get 28% because Romulus gets lots more in his full specs that I never added together at the bottom because they weren't a difference between Hunyadi and Romulus because I'd be getting them, but I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. I'd be getting this 8%, and I believe he has one more somewhere in here. So he has that 8%, and then the 12% at the back, and then he has the 8% there. So I'd be getting 28% where Hunyadi only has 10. So that's 18%, and then I'd gain the extra on the other side. So yeah, extra 26%. I did the math. That's going to come out to about 206,000 more in my march on Siege. And Siege is a very difficult one to increase. So, and it's honestly my number 1 attack. My number 1 attack in the game is a Siege attack. I love it in SVS because it just goes right to souls. I don't even have to fill my hospital. Boom, hit the unsurprising person in the first hour, got my points. Battlefield, I got so much Siege. It's a major part of my game. I can go soft in the enemy keep before we attack. So I think this is $200 that's going to be well spent. I'll update you guys as the event goes on. But looking like I'm probably going to pick it up maybe today. Maybe get it in on my code there, Evony 5 at the top. Little shameless plug, but I think that's what I'm going to end up doing. Like, subscribe, leave.